Good afternoon. My name is Daya Prakash and I'm your host today. Uh, I would like to welcome you all on behalf of and Sophos for today's session. As you are all aware, the topic of today's discussion is fight back, defend the adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem. I am so happy and glad today that we have a great mix of panel to discuss and deliver particular topic. Just to briefly introduce all the panel members who are there with us today for this discussion. So in today's discussion, Mr. Akhil Verma, CISO Airtel Payments Bank, Ms. Puneet Kohli, CTO Universal Sompo General Insurance Company Limited, Mr. Archie Jackson, Senior Director, Head IT and Security in CIDO Inc., Mr. Kushal Varshne, CTO Wiresent Infrastructure, Mr. Gaurav Vij, Founder and CTO WhoLive, Mr. Sanjeev Jain, Group CIO Krishna Group, and Mr. Nishant Tripathi, Cyber Security Consultant, Sophos Technologies Private Limited. And we also have today with us subject matter expert, Mr. Aniruddha Sharma, who is Senior Security Solution Engineer at Sophos Technologies Private Limited. Welcome you all to this discussion today. Before I begin the discussion, I want to share a few pointers here. I came across this very recent research done by PwC on global digital trust in and there are certain data points which I wanted to share with you all that has come up from this particular research. So this is that 96% of enterprise executives say they are adjusting their cybersecurity strategies due to COVID-19, and half are now considering cybersecurity decisions. 71% plan to incorporate cybersecurity, including early detection of cyber risk, company-wide enterprise risk management strategies. 55% are seeing their cybersecurity budgets increase in 2021 over 2020, with more automotive security, cybersecurity being the goal of this year. And last but not least, 19.2% jump in adaptive security adoption in next 2 years. That's something that this particular research talks about. Before I begin the panel discussion, let me invite Mr. Aniruddha to share his perspective on the topic. Over to you, Mr. Aniruddha.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Daya. And again, I am Anuj Sharma. I take care of pre-sales consultancy in Sophos for last 7+ years. And as you rightly said, that this cybersecurity is an essential part of any organization, and we are considering, even the C-level guys, C-level guys are considering it. So let me just quickly share my screen for a quick presentation. Let us start the session from there on. So yes, need of ecosystem in cybersecurity, and building a proper defense system for an organization requires a strategy and a set of tools that can work together. And in this connected world, in this connected cybersecurity world, I will just tell you that how to stay protected in the today's world with the right ecosystem. But first, look at the evolving threats that we have today. So most of the threat research reports that are published today are overly reliant on what that these type of millions of database have been reached, or these numbers of attacks are happening. They highlight the most common or frequently used tactics and techniques like ransomware, but that's not what most important. The more meaningful question to ask is, what tactics and techniques are being used to execute successful attacks, and what results in a successful breach that we are seeing these days. So here are a few examples of how attackers are evolving. First is living off, that is like system tools such as PowerShell, PSXX, Windows management instrumentation. We also see and observe automated active attack, like better protection is now forcing attackers to get more creative. And in recent examples of Ryuk ransomware, for example, uses to gain initial foothold in any organization, and then employs human factor, human attackers, human ingenuity to evade any kind of detection. In other words, there's a human behind the attack. So it is not only about a product fighting a product, it is also that the first foothold has been made, and the human team is getting involved over there. And then also countermeasure neutralization. So this refers to attackers that covertly modify security to evade detection in any security product. Samsung ransomware is a good example of this. Its handler basically go out of their way to find backups, delete those backups, and then deploy their actual ransomware. Our Sophos Labs team analyze these kind of payments made into Bitcoin wallets owned by Samsungware, and we have received, we have seen or observed approximately $5.9 million of revenue to the attackers, and it is like more and more. Last but not least, we have seen and we have heard about these kind of attacks. That is a supply chain attack that occurs when someone infiltrates your organization through an outside partner or a third party vendor. And there's no end to major cyber breaches that were caused by suppliers actually. If you remember Tata, Equifax, to name a few, these were a common supply chain attacks. Research has found that 56% of the organization have had a breach that was caused by one vendors. And also critical vulnerabilities in RMM tools like ConnectWise have also allowed unauthenticated remote attackers to gain the use of the tool. So this is how threats are evolving. And also the landscape overall of our organizations are also evolving. How so? The shifting landscape is about business shift. Organizations are constantly looking for ways to improve their productivity, scalability, and hence they have created a very interconnected supply chain, and they are migrating their data and applications to the cloud. And in parallel, COVID-19 has rapidly accelerated this shift. So today there is no perimeter whatsoever. If you see, the workforce is working from home, IT team is working from home, guys are working from home. So everybody has to work in a different perimeter, so there is no perimeter whatsoever. Moreover, we have also seen it is not just the business environment that are shifted or evolving. Attacks have shifted also, and attacks have become more advanced, sophisticated, and coordinated. And they are leveraging all kind of powerful tools, like I have mentioned in my previous slide. And we call this as living off the land attacks. Are using automation in their attacks to cause maximum damage, and also in return they demand maximum return of their attack. And security is also shifting. Such a shift in business and attack demands IT security to shift and to evolve their strategy. And firstly, it requires from security management to security operations. And gone are the days of set it and forget it. Usually, what happens is that in previous previous we have seen that IT team was more into management side, and it was all that we have bought a product, we set it, and we forget it. These days, it is not to do or deliver much effective security. And IT security needs to hunt and detect suspicious behaviors, events before they become a true breach. With businesses now interconnected, security needs to follow the same rules that are the like a paradigm shift that is happening here, and need to move from unintegrated security point products to an adaptive cyber security ecosystem. And ecosystem is basically a set of or group of products or solutions and talk to each other, that can understand each other, and that can take automated incident response for you. So business and attacks are always evolving and evolving. Hence, the future of IT security needs to enable a unique feedback loop so it can constantly learn and improve to this particular evolution. And we were talking about evolution, so business evolution is like whether you like it or not, the perimeter has been gradually destroyed entirely, and times have certainly changed, and we are not just sitting in our offices in a trusted environment. Users want to work remotely, partially remote or entirely work from home kind of scenario on untrusted network. They also access corporate data, resources, and work from home is here to stay. In a global survey conducted by Gartner, where 88% of the organizations worldwide had made it mandatory or encouraged for their employees to work from home, even after this COVID pandemic will be over. So that vision of organizations. Also, adoption of the public cloud platform has increased a lot, and public cloud platforms mean the devices or that are run within the perimeter or within the organization are now being offloaded on the cloud. So everything is everywhere basically, and this business has to evolve, and IT has to evolve with it, and they have to secure the user, they have to secure the networks, they have to secure the cloud, and hence there is a requirement of an adaptability ecosystem, or you can also say that a virtually managed SOC, a security operations center kind of thing. And this is where Sophos comes in. We are announcing adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem that is an evolution to address the new reality of integrative business systems and attacks that are by automation plus hands-on keyboard kind of hacking techniques, and a system that leverages automation and analysis in this virtuous cycle, the feedback that is continually learning and improving. Also, automation via advanced AI-based prevention with cross-product detection and response. They feature signal among the noise, because today all the vendors, all the products, or we as an IT team, as an IT organization, are trying to reduce the noise. There is a lot of data that is moving across. There are lots of logs that are being generated, and we have to reduce that kind of noise. And best of all, the main crux or the main cream of Sophos is that you can start small and you can grow and leverage the Sophos endpoint firewall technology. You can build of that foundation. This open ecosystem is constantly improving and evolving with the collective inputs of Sophos products. So every product like MDM, server protection, they are talking to each other. And this constant feedback loop of threat and security intelligence enables the system and its components to get better over time. Also, there is a shift of SecOps, so automation plus operators, and it's a security operations approach where we leverage the power of an analyst, and automation can analyze and react faster to known patterns, behaviors, and events, while human analysts are better at correlating multiple suspicious signals. So that is where our managed threat response team comes in, where our rapid response team comes in. And also we have turning multiple operation centers into virtual SOCs that can be managed by security experts from anywhere, giving you the ability to find the best global talent, and depending on your approach, and the system can be managed by your security experts or be managed as a service by ours. So this is what the Sophos adaptive cybersecurity is all about, and it is basically built to protect the interconnectedness of your organizations, of our businesses, online world, so on and so forth. And with the security operations approach, it's a system that protects all your systems data wherever they exist, and it also constantly learns and improves to protect your future in technology and attacks. And with that, I would like to thank Mr. Daya for inviting me over here, and over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So much. So you kind of taken us through the journey to adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem, right? And which is very relevant. I understood from your presentation is that everything got changed. The way we are working in current scenario versus the way we used to work pandemic era, say about 24 odd months before, right? it's just because the whole perimeter concept, has lost its sheen, and so that has the impact, and with that impact, what is the implication on the enterprises, and how our industry leaders are fighting with this today, is something that let's try and understand in this discussion for next 30 odd minutes, 35 odd minutes, right? If I may invite, you heard Anirudh speak about the threat landscape changing completely. Let me try and understand from you, what has been your take? If you talk about your experience in past, let's say about 20, you've been dealing with things on a security front. If you can start with that.
Thank you, yeah, sir. In fact, first of all, delighted to be part of this panel and meeting all the faces remotely, virtually today. And very important topic for today's discussion, which is around adaptive security. Something which is actually becoming the necessity of today's cybersecurity framework. Well, not only from the past 24 months, but even from beyond, the approach for cybersecurity has been protective than detective. Because yes, there have been breaches, there have been anomalies which gets detected after, let's say, 6 months, 8 months, 9. But the impact that happens during that particular due course, that is something that needs to be mitigated, or that risk needs to be mitigated, or that should be avoided. Products, tool sets, technologies, which encapsulates under the adaptive security, comes into play, which is prevent mechanism, which would prevent the threats from actually impacting the environment. So with the transformation around the products, as well as the framework has moved from the legacy traditional malware detection or the antivirus to an XDR encapsulated linked with a threat intelligence platform. Why? So why? Because the updates, the reference repository of those threats is not enough. Because earlier the antivirus used to be updated with those patch updates and their database updates, so that they could detect the signatures and then prevent them from impacting the environment. Nowadays, we have zero signatures, which is a catastrophic impact of new threats coming in, evolving every other minute. So for that, there is a very important linking to a data lake, which is a threat intelligence pool, through which they could, and these are the sources. This could be dark web, these could be various different sources through which signatures, that information about any zero signature, which is undetectable or more of a persistence threat, we detected, and then we could prevent through those tool sets. Second aspect around this is the user behavioral analysis, which is all with the AI. Now, with the AI, these products, or in fact, the frameworks, they work into the behavior. So, for example, like even 5 that we now have, the basic licenses, they give us a very clear view of how we are behaving, how we are working, so that we can even improve our performance and improve our productivity. So these are not only limited to cybersecurity. These are also, the AI engines are monitoring our data activities, so that we could reach the right outcomes into the productivity. Likewise, from the AI engines, these AI engines helps us with the behavior of an individual or a particular environment. Now, there are even products which are product of the organization, which are more into a DevOps environment, where a high intensity, high importance around DevSecOps is required. So designing grounds up from the point in the SDLC cycle, software development life cycle. It should the security embeds at the very inception when it is, so that as it is being and the process of these development is all agile. It may be developers may be working in the silos and then coming all together, pods all together as an application which is developed. So with the transformation of businesses, so what I'm trying to summarize is with the transformation of businesses, it's highly essential and integral for us to have projects or the framework to be more adaptive, more predictive. And with threat intelligence as well as AI engines, we would be able to detect such anomalies more efficiently and mitigate the risk.
Sure. Thank you so much, Archie. And there are quite a few things that you touched upon, and we will definitely be covering those a little bit more in detail. And I'll come back to you as well on those about AI. It talks about framework. It talks about the whole approach, which is more like to be proactive than that of reactive, right? So, but I mean, I'll like here and on the topic where I would like to little bit more understand on in terms of implication of the whole threat landscape change during last couple of months, and the implications and impact and how effectively our leaders are dealing. Let me now go to Ms. Puneet, and take your views, Puneet.
Yes, so thank you for that opportunity. Can you
so we are talking about the last couple of months, specifically post-pandemic, right? There is a whole scenario got changed from to business challenges and all that, and because of that, the organizations are today need to effectively deal with those threat landscape change, those challenges, right? In order to move towards adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that we just want capture your thoughts on that, your experience in your organization. Yeah.
Thank you for your question, Daya, and good afternoon to all my panelists and my viewers. So security has definitely put a complete, a new normal as we go and accept it. Pandemic as something which has come as a topmost priority. People are working from the four walls of their house, or it is giving a flexibility of working from anywhere, not being just home. It could be anywhere, because it's not that after the vaccination itself that organizations are giving the mindset has come where people are allowing physical in probably in different you can say everybody is posters and all that stuff. That is what organizations are coming, or they are process duplications, and also people are being allowed to come in piecemeal basis and restore office physically after at least a series of around one year or 1.5 years. That's what is happened. The new normal has brought about the balance of a flexibility of working. Secondly, the endpoints which needs to change a more threat openness in terms of threat, an acceptance which has given you many people when there was a drastic change and suddenly people were told to work from home, and there was the laptops were of very less, none of the many companies policy of working from home. They were either given desktops or laptops, and especially the organization where there was only desktops and people were physically coming, be it in technology or in other departments, then of users to get a new laptop allocation and all that stuff. So how it started, suddenly overnight the BYOD policies were, and something called a zero trust framework was brought into picture, that whether the endpoints we talk about perimeter level, gateway level, or even the authorities, that is a very traditional approach. But now with so much of data coming from different sources, which is like unidentified BYOD practice, people are mails their applications through any devices. So it becomes like an interoperability, technology agnostic approach, device agnostic approach. So then the cybersecurity framework calls for more vulnerabilities. So we should be knowing which points are getting connected, how is the data traveling, what is at guys, and especially with regard to the recent digital investments that has gone in from the companies. People in their mindset, they are working from home. The opinions of working from of the digital assets or more of digital innovation. So it's also necessary that even like social media connect is also coming on a very, because they are missing their the physical meeting with the people, and everything is about social and social connect. So one has to be very very clear that when if you are using any apps, whether be it corporate or any online dating or online shopping apps, we should be very clear what are the banking things, the passwords not getting compromised. We frequently change our passwords. The softwares or the hackers are already getting into your core systems. They use the sort to get hold of your passwords if that not are being changed. Basically in our day-to-day, what is the protocol. So the discipline of the corporate, we as technology leaders or information technology leaders or the information security leaders only invoke certain kind of basically this is principles, or we basically be very 45 days or 90 days password policy embedded into our personal life as well. So that means if at corporate level our applications are bound to get hacked, so what about in personal life? Are we sure? Because we are using the same mobile, that mobile becomes your mobile wallet. It has a digital currency in it. We are using that as a part of online transaction. We are on password, we are giving it to our children, which might be having an access to some online gamings and all. Knowingly we cannot become unknowing. So that discipline should be day-to-day lives. Even we also become lazy in doing that. We don't embed that. So if that culture comes as an individual, that these are some principles we should be adapting, giving a very open kind of a framework. Now going back to the corporates, a corporate should have not only an understanding but also a culture and awareness. It's not about putting up multiple boxes, doing 100 crores of investment only on technology. It's an awareness which has to be set forth. You people are using the data. Where is data getting resided? Supposing if an IT head is taking on cloud, what exactly are you hosting on cloud? If you are very clear with your vendor, what exactly is getting catered for you? So even the cloud compromises will not be done. So all these are certain things which should have a basic checklist. If we are not aware, it doesn't mean nobody comes out knowing that everything. If you are a leader for 20, it doesn't mean that you are equipped with the latest technology. There is no harm in getting an awareness on a day-to-day basis. Right. So that is what I would set example, that we can, set that example, and we can in turn learn from many CFOs who are even much more trained because of the cloud and the latest technologies coming.
Sure, definitely. Tangible perspective, Puneet there. Kushal, if I may come to you, the whole discussion started from this perimeterless scenario in today's world. Right? I would like to know at this point of time from you as to what has been your experience of dealing with it, right? You had to enable, right? There was no other way on the business, right? And how did you effectively deal with it?
Correct. So thank you, Daya, and thank you, everyone. So this is, I think, must have seen that WhatsApp forwarded message, like whether the digital transformation was CEO led or CIO led, or it was pandemic led. Many cases, like many people, definitely they were ahead of the curve, but for many people who are wondering what happened, how to respond or how to react, right? It was actually pandemic led digital transformation. And when we are saying threat parameter, earlier we were safeguarded behind our firewall, right? So your employee can't access malicious websites and a couple of other things. Now those things have changed. And see, it's not just pandemic. If we see after industrial revolution, in the fourth industrial revolution, our life, when I'm saying not just the corporate life, our personal life also, we are spending more time digitally, becoming tech savvy, more digital prone. Everyone, whether he is a corporate, non-corporate, a student, or anyone, like he is using a smartphone, he is a Facebook user, he is accessing to so many websites, right? So thanks to lots of like internet now available to everyone at such good rates. So and everyone is connected. So if we look around us, like 10 years back, our homes, what was the digital into our digital content, or say or electronic items in at our home, versus now we are using smart wearables. Everything is connected everywhere. It is Wi-Fi connected, Bluetooth connected, transmitting data, right? Data you have, so lots of things which is happening now. When so many areas, digital things have touched our lives, so any good thing comes in, definitely there are bad things which will also come in. So bad guys, definitely they are taking advantage of that.
Sure.
So are dependent on typical signature based systems, right? Signature based antiviruses, which were sufficient and they were doing good job. But now when hackers or the people, they're like dark web people, they're also getting smarter. They're using artificial intelligence, right? All the best of the best tools which are available, they are always, it's a cat and mice game, right? They always try to be one step ahead of all of us. So we are working on like, okay, signature based, signature less, how we will ensure like any area in terms of security, be it preventive or be it detective.
Sure.
So everything was critical, and in our case also, the way we design. In fact, we are born in pandemic. Happy to say that this company was incorporated in August 2020. We completed 2 portfolio merger and acquisition. We have acquired 5 companies, 4 from a Singapore-based group, Syndicatum, during pandemic, while we all were operating from home or from our hometowns also. Like I am operating from Gwalior.
Wow.
So that's the mission. That's the way now companies are working with private equity players. They are working with. So it's earlier people were reluctant. Okay, how things will happen. Now the thing is, our dependency, our inclination towards IT, more IT-enabled processes, more IT-driven business processes, that is increasing. Then definitely safeguarding those things will also increase. So there, everywhere, IT security expenditure is also increasing.
Sure. Thank you so much. And there is one element that you touched upon, which is, the hackers becoming smarter than, all of us and putting us in the is something that I will definitely come back to you and others in a little while. But Gaurav, I want to come to you at this point of time, and I want to on, you're effectively dealing with this whole situation. So over to you, Gaurav. Gaurav,
Thanks there, sir. So I think, Kushal actually touched a very beautiful point that now the things are changing, right? Now we are actually driven, right? IT is now a strong pillar rather than just an enabler in any case. And that needs security of data, right? So for us, we the hospitality sector, right? The way we see this entire business transformation is like from ground reality to coming onto the systems. There are a lot of soft aspects, a lot of we are dealing with, right? Information which is being generated on the ground has to be secured, on the applications on the server, and like from the ground reality, from the people who are serving there, they have to be trained, right? What to say, when not to say, what all policies to be followed, what all processes to be followed. They have to be enabled with technology is not only to serve that, but also to monitor and track whether these are leak or not happening around that. Similarly, on the applications side, so when we are having the information, the hackers are definitely trying to actually get past through those applications because everything is running on public internet. Everyone is working from home. So how to secure controls needs to be applied to that. And that is where the enterprise architecture beautifully comes into place, where they actually touch on all of the various phases of that, of the technologies and tools which has to be used and all. So if you see in TOGAF, right, we have got a separate security architecture which is there, which gets reviewed by so many enterprise implementation happens, which actually touch base on all of these aspects, like from security to technology, to endpoints, what to be integrated, where to be integrated, what all access whom, right? I'll give you an example. Like suppose imagine like there's a big gaming company, right? Nowadays, a lot of gaming things which are happening on the mobile side. People are, instead of going to, they're actually playing those games when the match is going live, right? Suppose imagine like a big company, and their data gets leaked, right? What is going to happen? The trust factor with the customers, they're going to lose. To the brand value, right? The brand is going to lose its image. The valuation is going to go down because they have leaked. Everyone are going to utilize that information, right? Now, recently we had an incident with WhatsApp and Facebook, which recently happened, right? The servers were down, and there are implications that people are just thinking like, was secure or not, or whether it was, leaked or not. So all of these actually is going to create a big impact on the brand value when it comes a data security implication. And for that only, as a leaders, we have to enforce a culture change into the soft dimensions of security, and also apply all the rules set which are there as a part of IT policy on the application side, on the server sides of it, so that we know the technology is driving the things as well as it is securing the information.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I think, brought up this particular point where, you spoke about hackers being smarter than ever before, right? So I think if I may come to you and take your views on this particular aspect, based on your experience, if you can share your views on this.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for being part of the panel. I've really heard my panel friends that security has really changed into that arena post-COVID, or I should say. I've been from the manufacturing organization, which is always not for security in the industry, because all my fellow panelists who are from fintech or hospitality or from the online business, actually security used to be always a very big thing to be done. But with the manufacturing facility where everything used to be in-house and everything was to perimeter security of the four walls, this pandemic has really brought us into a vulnerable situation where all of a sudden was being enforced and people were forced to really work from home. We have a culture of having desktop, as Puneet was talking about, that having desktops only, and secondly, that nobody was aware that the lockdown will happen. Most of the people might not even have carried out their laptops, which is to their homes at that time. And when these things came up, it became a nightmare for us to really see how exactly we have to give the access to the things, because it was a thing where the closing has to be done and the balance sheets, etc., has to be prepared for the organization to really come. So we really worked on the thing that we have to set up the complete VPN process. People who were using the BOID devices, those were to be scanned. Auto patching of those things were to be worked out, and then we have to do basically that all antiviruses and everything was to be patched into that thing. So going forward from there, I think so it was a lesson learned by not only me, but all other manufacturing organizations who were using in-premise data centers for their particular purpose, really started looking into IT security as a big. We also started working on that particular things, and then now we have, I would say that we have taken a decision that we have to make IT security as a secure by design, that everything, whatever we are talking about, whatever we are adopting, whether any application or any new devices or any things, we have to see that the security is the first priority which has to be taken in. As rightly said by my fellow friends, that previously we were just doing perimeter security, and we were thing is moving out of it, because you have DLPs, you have firewall, you have all endpoint security and everything residing onto it. But with the pandemic, you have opened up the in-house things to the open world, where nobody was aware what exactly somebody is doing and that particular things. We, being an automotive manufacturing organization, we have a lot of time with us of the OEMs for the models which are yet to be launched 2 years, 3 years down the line. So it became a big issue for us to how to protect that particular thing. Is not land up in a situation where the IPR is lost and people get into a trouble. So we really took a lot of decisions for putting the into place of the servers and remote desktops, the sector to be given to the person so that the persons are not able to download anything from the system for the critical databases or anything which is lying. And now we are trying to see that we should put in the AI and ML part of the security being put into place. I don't think that going forward, every looking into it, that security can't be, it cannot be a destination. It has to be a journey which has to be traveled every day. And you can't be comfortable nothing has happened to you that tomorrow nothing will happen. So you have to be very focused. And I think so IT security has to become a every minute's job for the people to see is happening into their networks. We need to have a very good system of monitoring to be put into place so that you are able to predict what exactly is going to happen and then things immediately if you are finding something suspicious. So that is what I feel. I think so. This is what has been taught by the pandemic too.
No, thank you so much. And before I come to you, Nishant, as a subject matter expert, let me just take the views from Mr. Akhil also, and then come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Daya. And first of all, thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. So I've heard all my fellow panelists, and as Kushala has given the reference of one WhatsApp is driving this digital innovation. Definitely, it's a pandemic has driven this thing. It's a very heavy side. So that is a fact also apart from joke side, but it's a fact. Commonly in information security, normally what we used to say, sometimes incidents are good. Definitely nobody wants to take that incident, but sometimes all these things are good for the innovation. Pandemic time, as Mr. Sanjeev also mentioned, nobody was ready. Whether most of the people might have kept that laptop in the office, and mostly people who work in the desktop in a lot of organizations. But yeah, this pandemic has given us a lot of opportunity to learn and grow. And accordingly, I think like for us, if I'll give the example, we are a completely digital bank. That hard to implement such control because it's everybody except few people, so everybody is working from means through laptop and other thing, but implementing that controls and all those things, all the organizations might have done some mistakes, and after 1 week or 10 days accordingly we must have changed the way how it need to be done. Then accordingly everybody might have taken care of those things. One other concept it is coming like controls. It is like security is definitely, it's not like in thing, it's not a destination, it's a journey. We cannot, after this pandemic, one thing is always unless our end of life we will remember, no controls is a permanent. Always we need to evolve, means accordingly we have to see. BCP always we were looking any auditor checklist, okay, your data center in this location, other side with a different seismic zone. Now there is no such type of concept. Even though earlier data center and DR, all those things we are considering, now all my official independent, my home location, it's another office where I'm connecting it to through my this Wi-Fi connection. Same way others also different branches. It's a perimeterless. Definitely a lot of learning and all the other things it has been taken. And during this pandemic, I think whatever we have implemented in same part, I think Anirudh, I think he was mentioning that some 56% breach in the supply chain it happened. Definitely, like now we are coming back to this situation. Probably it may go as this hybrid, the same type of implementation. Our supply chain, our partners is also implemented, or they are reversing those things. So that everybody is thinking through accordingly. Same type of control it is getting implemented or not. I think these are the questions, and always it will be ongoing, and accordingly evaluation and means value addition and all those things it will be required going forward, and it's a continuous thing. You are on mute, Mr. Daya.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Akhil. Mr. Nishant, you heard all the about how effectively they have dealt with it, and almost everybody spoke about the change in the business scenario, change in the threat landscape, how employees are working and how they would, going forward would work, and those kind of scenarios, right? You've been interacting with a lot of industry, what has been your understanding about this whole situation, and how leaders would have effectively dealt with it, so that we can perhaps get some from you?
First of all, thank you so much, Daya, for having me here, and it was great to hear all the esteemed panelists here, across, from manufacturing to banking and to some people started in pandemic. They did acquisition and all, and the good thing. I took a note of all the key points mentioned, but the one thing I found very common is the sense of unpreparedness, which happened in 20 months. Nobody was prepared, even for us also, as mentioned by one of the panelists, that, one fine day, it was, tomorrow onwards, it will be remote working. and we could not even get a chance to, bring all the assets from the office. That's a very big change. And like Mr. Sanjeev, in manufacturing, he very aptly said that, in those kind of setups, they were always prepared into a kind of scenario, right? They need to be connected inside a secure parameter in a confined setup, sitting behind the firewall with a very controlled access to each and every. And in those 18 to 20 months, what we have observed is the era of digital transformation. Mr. Kaushal said, pandemic-led digital transformation, and I completely agree with it. I completely go with this 100%. This was a pandemic-led, and it's not. So whenever we talk about digital transformation, it's not only about the users of application and technology, but it's actually redefining your exit strategy. Perhaps, some people talking about, changing the culture. So actually, it forced CIOs to change their working culture. Because to succeed in digital transformation, your company should not think of technology just as a support function. It has to be a strategy. It's just not about applying technology to business function, but it is creating entirely new business model as a backbone of the technology. Talk about adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem and how it has brought the key value. This particular concept is already on. Anirudh explained about the different tiers which we have in the adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem. He spoke about the threat intelligence. He spoke about Sophos Lab. He spoke about products and services which we have as a part of adaptive cybersecurity ecosystem. Why we develop this thing? Because when we into leaders, there are few common challenges with them. One is they don't want their systems to be used in today's time. Every organization, every customer organization to whom I interact, they have a whole bunch of security solutions, including firewalls, endpoint security, data protection, whole bunch of security stuff. They are managing it, but now they are looking for integration. Even Mr. Archie mentioned about the integration of products. So this is the core essence of cybersecurity ecosystem, which we have designed and developed. We have just not developed, but we have integrated them so well that they share threat intelligence and provide automated threat response. Sure. We have been focusing on prevention, response.
Sure.
Any customer, you can start with a typical endpoint or maybe firewall, and you can build up your entire essence.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nisha. Yeah. You wanted to say?
Yes. I want one more thing about
Sure, please.
We discussed all the panelists have discussed a lot about the changing threat landscape, and I would like to a very old saying in cybersecurity. We used to say that attacker just need to be correct once, but security expert need ready every time.
Yeah.
This concept is not true in today's time, because we as in cybersecurity leaders, we have been evolved in technology, and this has forced all the attackers to change their tactics. Now it's not only about just pray who will get caught into a phishing attack. The main goal of today's adversaries is to remain undetected. Anirudh spoke about living of the. It's nothing but the use of signed application like PowerShell or maybe WMI to evade detection, right? Literally sitting virtually inside a customer network so that they remain undetected. It's not just only about the source. I think my fellow panelists will agree to this. To fight with a software, you need a software, but to fight with a human, because the attacks have been human, you need a human in your cybersecurity chain. So with this, I would like to hand it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Nishant. And in the interest of time, I have like quick one or two more questions. I want to give this chance to all speakers, anybody who wishes to kind of answer this. But we've spoken about, so Nishant also spoke about various tools. Archie spoke about the AI element, prediction, versus detection and all that kind of thing. So while all this is like something which is right, that this is the need of the hour, but I would like to hear from our esteemed speaker today, anyone who wishes to share their experiences, that in terms of adoption, predictive models versus reactive, right? Any challenge that you still feel that you implemented in the organization, that it is not yet 100%, right? It is some way to go. So anybody who would like to share their thoughts on this?
I would like to just simply add over here is that it is easier than done, said than done. Reason being that actually, if I talk of facilities across the country, we have something around 32 plants which are there in the things. The cost of implementation of AI ML, part of it, about predictive things to be done, is not that easy. We really have to see that when the pandemic has brought up as Nishant talked about, that and digitalization has been the part which has been really immediately started up front. And we have also started IT and OT marriages to be done into the system. So the cost of all these things, where what you are implementing today is not even in being taken care by our OEMs, that tomorrow will giving you the 100% result out of. They have so many product changes also, which are sometimes not even upgradable to the latest technology. I think so. Something needs to be done, contain the cost. Otherwise, adaptability of this IT security is becoming a big challenge when everybody is facing a issue of with them, because this pandemic has really brought in business losses to big magnitudes in the manufacturing organization. And on top of it, when we are saying that I have a crore rupee for my security to be put into place, it becomes very difficult to justify to the management how exactly we have to do that part.
Sure.
Everybody simply asks, one simple question comes from the top management: how many attacks were there in the last year? Can't say that if there was no attack, there will be no attack tomorrow also. So that challenging part to really see how to tackle that particular part. And I think so we will be expecting the OEMs to take care of that particular model. They really need to, countries are growing on so big for them, they really need to see that how they can contain the cost and make it a thing which can be adopted by everybody.
Sure.
Sorry, it could be my personal things, but
it's a very valid input. So thank you so much for candidly sharing that. Kushal, you wanted to say something, right?
So I agree what Sanjeev ji mentioned just now, and I'll just want to touch base 4 points. So one is regarding my experience, like my previous company, which was definitely pre-COVID. So we have to focus on by design. Like when we are designing something, like my current company, We were born in pandemic, so everything, be it collaboration, everyone was mentally prepared. Everything meant for work from anywhere. So my previous company also, when I joined as the first person in IT in that company and did entire setup from scratch. So there also, like around 90% things were ready for work from anywhere. Like on 16th of March 2020, our CEO mentioned like let's come to office for 1 day work, and next day onwards, from 17th onwards, let's do a work from home.
Sure.
And that 1 day was sufficient for us. Like we just have some on-premise servers, configuring VPN. Earlier also we were cloud first, SaaS first. Now to answer or to touch base the Sanjeev's point, people are now moving from capex to OpEx. When you are in OpEx, you have the flexibility to upgrade to in terms of technology upgrade or do other kind of changes. Like for example, like and in fact, because so here, so in my previous company also they helped me a lot. So I was a customer. I was using Sophos Endpoint Intercept X Advanced with EDR that time, and now this kind for XDR. Their new model which is launched.
Sure.
So I agree, Sanjeev. So then definitely there will be additional cost basis which we have to supply. So as Sanjeev rightly, it's continuously we have to upgrade, because every hackers are upgrading their armors. We also have to upgrade our armor as well as defense mechanism.
Thank you so much, Kushal. Archie, stop at 4 p.m. one. Your quick take on your wish to be completely predictive versus reactive, and in order to do that kind of support that you've been getting, kind of satisfied with, the various players in the industry, right? When we talk about adaptive cyber system, how far it has been created by the creators or the principals, right? What's your take on that?
Thank you. Our panelists mentioned that it's number of the attacks that have been there over the particular period. But if you look back in a different way, it's the number detected over a period. There may be attacks which go undetected. So, and we may be simply happy that we are all reliant and everything, but there are breaches happening in the background which may be over a period like 5-6 months down the line, realize that something has really happened. From perspective, one of the important take that I did for the in past 2 years was orchestration of the entire platform, from having vendors looked at the entire architecture, which would be across the board. So, for example, people, from the mindset perspective, there may be DLP people, DLP, but there may be some vulnerability or gaps left around SASE or cloud or data upload, social media, all of those. So, the DLP doesn't play an important role in that particular case because there are backdoor entries in the other side, in the other segment as well. So from let's say from the security, application security, cloud security, endpoint security, mobile security, and encapsulating all together, and then having the product which would go through all these aspects altogether. And yes, Sophos, I have evaluated this product as well from various. It actually goes through a range of from endpoints, cloud, everything. So these are, some of the products which considered for the orchestration and in terms of proof of concept, and evaluate which would be the right product, and reduce the number of vendors or bundle of partners that we have, things more streamlined.
Great, thank you so much. I think with that, we have this very interesting session. I know you have a hard stop, and there is something which has been planned in terms of a very interesting quiz, which is going to take us maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So I just want to back at this point of time. Maybe we have this opportunity post quiz to kind of take 1 or 2 more comments, and then finally wrap up the session, right? So another 5 minutes around, for this session. But at this point of time, I would like to introduce Ms. Chaitra, or request Ms. Chaitra to come on stage and take the proceedings from here forward to the quiz, interesting quiz that you put together.
Thank you so much there, sir. Good evening, everyone. I know it's very late and we were supposed to stop by 4. Like it'll take like 3 minutes max, like 30 seconds for each question. Let me just screen.
And Chitra, I believe there are some prizes as well, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes. 5 winners are going to get the duffel bags.
Excellent.
So it is the fastest finger first. So who's it first will get the prize. So you just have to log in to Kahoot app, or you might also use the browser www.kahoot.it and enter the pin 8298406. That's the pin, and enter your full name so that we will be able to if you win the quiz. So if you put the short names, we will not be able to know who's it. So please enter your full names, no nickname, and if possible, enter your full name with the company name, or it will be easy for us to identify the winners. So still the people who are trying to log in, either you can use it, log in from the browser, the app, and enter the code, enter the pin, which is 8298406. I still see few. I mean, there is one I can see, SG9873. Can you please enter your full names, please?
Chitra, I think for you it will be easier to trace with the mobile number. Short name, initial, first name, last name, and mobile number, it will be easier for you to track.
Okay. Short name also, if it is, okay, let's try. But still, I would prefer the full name at least. It will be easier. So we were around 90 odd people, so at like 28. The winners will get a real cool prize from Sophos. The questions will be the presentation or the sessions what you just heard. So it will be in and around that only. So it will be easy for you. If you have heard the entire session, so, and whosoever click it first, and it's just the fastest finger. So we'll wait for like a minute more. We are at 4:05 now, 4:06. I'm going to start this. Okay, a few more seconds to go. Okay, let's start. I'm going to start the quiz. So you'll have 30 seconds to answer. Here is your first question. What does Sophos ACE stands for? Is it Advanced Cybersecurity Environment, Advanced Cybersecurity Adaptive Cybersecurity Ecosystem, or Advanced Cybersecurity Engine? Your time is ticking. Answer fast. We have like more seconds. We have 34 answers. Okay. Okay, so we have 21 right answer. Let's see who's in top 3. Okay, so the name is top, so it will be very difficult for us to find. Second place is Sunil. Third, Gaurav. Rajaram, followed by Mahesh. So let's go for the next. What is synchronized security? Is it sharing threat intel to automate the response, sharing the threat intel to this, sharing logs for advanced troubleshooting, or deploy unified policies? Which is the right answer? Everybody's answering fast, and we are like at 32, 33 answers. We are left with like 4 seconds. Okay. We have like 16 right answers. That means everybody have heard it, heard the presentation. So now Sunil is in the top, followed by Mahesh, Ajay, Gaurav, and Prasad. Okay, this is the last question. It might be the game. All the Sophos products can be managed using which platform? Is it Enterprise Console, Central Center, or Intellix? Which is the right platform? So which platform does Sophos products can be managed using? Okay, I think everybody answered it already. Oh, okay. 11 right answers. Let's see the scoreboard and let's see who is the winner today. Here is the Yasin. Congratulations. And second place goes to KV. I don't know file number, so I don't know the name. And the first place, Sunil, congratulations all. And fourth and fifth place as well. So we will get in touch with you and we will connect with as soon as possible. Thank you so much. And over to you, Daya sir.
Thank you so much, Chitra. That was interesting. So coming back to the session and the interesting discussion that we had in last 1 hour or so, 45 minutes or so. Just to wrap up, like the thing that we got from this session today, how effectively you as an industry leader would have dealt with the situation. So there are one or two things takeaway I'm taking with me, which is like the whole threat perspective landscape has changed, the business scenario has changed, and the way we work today versus the way we used to work completely changed, and it calls for new approach, new business models, new I think approach towards in the enterprise and going from reactive to predictive, right? So with that, I think Nishant, I may invite you to kind of share your learning from your today's session, followed by Anirudh, and open for anyone who's have a quick point to make. Over to you, Nishant.
So, if you want me to summarize, so I would like to summarize with them. Like, if you want to have something you never had, you must be willing to do something you never did. And security is like this only. So if organizations wants to enable proactive defense mechanism, they need to invest in a cybersecurity system instead of individual thinking in silos. A system which is continuously learning and improving. And if we talk about ACE, it has got 5 major components. One is the threat. Next generation technology enabled product is the second, whenever we talk about firewalls, endpoints, and other security products. Then on the base, bottom of it is the Sophos data, which enables our threat responders to get the telemetry data and respond to threats. Then we have got API enabled Sophos Central Management Console. So integration with third products and services. And last, the Central Management Console to manage all the security products, which is the need of the hour. So with this,
thank you so much, Mr. Anirudh.
So Nishant summarized it, and yes, in case if you want to defend your fortress, if you want to defend your organization, so for that you can use host a cybersecurity ecosystem, and you can also build your virtual SOC. And yes, it will also encompass ZTNA kind of strategies that one of the panelists were focusing on. And also, you can start small, but then you can gradually grow. Obviously, ML, AI, everything is ever increasing, and also need to follow some more automated approach towards cybersecurity, because in this ever shifting dynamics, the product or the here is not enough in silos. We have to combine these strengths, and we have to defend our fortress. So with that note,
thank you so much, Chandra. All attendees, please note that Chaitra has shared the link to the feedback form in chat box. If you can just go through that, fill in the feedback. I don't know, Chitra has promised that there are going to be some interesting prizes on that as well. So, and I trust Chaitra. So, please see and take a quick minute and fill in the feedback form, please. Gaurav, Mr. Sanjeev, Kushal, any quick remark, anything that you wish to, or Mr. Akhil, anything that you want to add?
I just want to highlight 2 points. I just want to touch these 2 points. One is I think from pandemic or basis our previous experiences also, we should be prepared worst. And definitely when we are saying worst, there is no limit to that. So we should take adequate security measures basing our organization or business requirement or nature. And second critical point is like we human beings are having a very short memory. We forgot past incidences very easily. Like if you see in COVID, sometime back we were discussing earlier, there were no bed available in hospitals. Now no bed available in hotel rooms. So the second wave was an invited wave. Like first wave we have seen, but we didn't learn anything. Right. So we should not forget the learning from COVID or pandemic, and we should leverage this. Like going forward, there may be some this kind of medical, you can say the warfare on this similar kind of warfare may happen right in future as well. We should be prepared. Our IT, you can say, should be prepared. It should not happen. Okay, now COVID is over. Now, okay, let's get back to the original or old school or old way of working. So that should not happen. We should not forget that.
Sure, Akhil.
I will just like to add one thing over here that I think so. We need to change our complete IT policies, and we really need to move to, because in most of the organization, the top senior team does not have the IT security policies being implemented, and they sometimes becomes the biggest bottleneck for any implementation. So I think so. Zero trust need to be adopted by every individual organization to really see that they are able to at least minimize the attacks.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will add, one point that we as a leaders, like I think the leadership now needs to change to think of the hackers, people who are getting threats, and that's how people will realize the need of cybersecurity as a completely separate entity in itself, rather than just a department or a process. Right? Just like we had issues with oxygen during the COVID pandemic second phase. The same thing is with cybersecurity also, right? We should be ready in future rather than reacting to when something happens.
Right.
That's something which is the need of the hour.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you, Gaurav, on that. Thank you so much, Sanjeev, Kushal, Nishant, Anirudh, everyone, for your participation and making this session quite interesting. With lots of learning. I thank you all once again on behalf of SME Venture and Sophos, and see you soon. Till the time, take care, stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Stay safe. Bye. Thank you.